All right, so I was watching a YouTube channel right now as I was working on this portrait, and when you search different things as an artist, just different subjects. I realized there was a subject that I didn't find, so I thought I'd make a video about it. Since this is the first video for this channel, my name is David Rocha, and I paint in acrylic. So I wanted to talk because I don't think I've ever shared this, and I have other channels that talk about other aspects of my story and whatnot, but this one is about art and how I learned to paint and draw in prison. So the whole thing started off is I was in Santa Rita. First of all, I was arrested by the FBI and the DEA under the RICO Act, and I was facing a lot of time. And I ended up getting an 8-year sentence, served 6 of those in federal prison. While I was fighting my case, after being arrested in the beginning, I was sent to Sacramento County Jail because it's a federal holding. I was there for 2 years. No, maybe, no, a little less actually. 15 months. Fighting my case there in a regular pod with everybody else in there. And then when I was sent to San Francisco, that was where I was fighting my RICO case. There they put me in solitary confinement. And it was there where, this would be a whole other video if I had to talk about this, but basically it's about, you got to make a program for yourself to keep your sanity. Every single day being in solitary, you have to know what you're going to do from breakfast all the way to dinner, whether it's a time allotted for reading, for writing, for writing letters, to whatever it is you're going to do, cleaning your cell, exercise. You have to have a program or else the days begin to blend with each other. Anyways, at that time, I had sent a letter to my brother because he had asked me, what kind of book do you want? And I'd always wanted to learn how to draw. I was already, by this time, I was going on 34 years old. I had never drawn in my life, not even a stick man. And I told him, can you get me a book on drawing animals, pencil? And he says, yeah, I'll find something, So that was awesome. At the same time, I had a guy move into my cell next door. And in conversation, because you could talk through the vent, or what it was is everybody would get an hour to come out of their cell. That way they can use the shower, use the phone, watch TV. And then once that person used their hour, they would lock back in the cell. Then it was the next person's hour, and it would go all the way on. So usually I would get out of my cell maybe every 3rd day. But the guy next to me, we started talking through the vent. And I told him, I'm trying to learn how to draw. But in jail, all you can buy is those little golf pencils, like this real short pencil. And you can't buy drawing pencils. They're all just number 2 pencils. So he said, I draw, and he started showing me how to just do different things, especially shading, because in pencil drawing, everything's in the shading, And he taught me how to shade. He taught me how to make these extensions out of a poker card and the wrap of a Dorito bag. How you flip it inside out. Well, you don't have to, but it looks like foil. So we would make these little extensions and cover them in the foil of a chip bag. That way you can stick your pencil into it, and it would extend the pencil, so it wouldn't be a little short pencil. So that was a huge deal because it gave me more control, because now I had a longer pencil. And so he taught me how to make shaders, how to wrap them up, these little cones and stuff. That way you can use them with hard paper, toilet paper to make shade, to blend the pencil markings. So once I got the book my brother sent me, I took it as, it was very simple pencil drawing, animals, a seal, a giraffe, if I remember right, a tiger, a head of a tiger, elephant. I approached that book like as if it was some kind of art school. I literally mastered chapter 1, and I would not move on to the next animal until I had mastered that animal, according to that book. And I proceeded like that all the way through. I didn't want to take advantage of a book my brother sent me and just go through it and then next week say, oh, I want another book. I literally took months to complete that book. Once I completed that book, I was still there in solitary. I spent a year in solitary. So maybe after 2.5, 3 months, I got a lot better because now I had a set program where I was going to teach myself how to draw. I'd never drawn before. So after that, he says, what do you want me to send you now? I said, I want to send me a book on landscapes, pencil drawing landscapes. So he sent me that, and I did the same thing. So now I started learning how to draw animals. I started learning how to landscape. Those books taught the graph method of graphing things, and so I would graph and basically draw each square, and then it would make the whole drawing, and then I erase the graph and then fill it in, So I started to do that, and man, within those few months, having never drawn in my entire life, I actually started drawing. And so that made me start choosing. Sometimes if we got lucky, we'd get a newspaper, a National Geographic, things like that, and I would find a picture I really liked, and I would draw it, whether it was a landscape, whether it was an animal. And that was a lot of fun, to now actually, this is my only way to draw nature, because I was in solitary confinement. I looked out of my cell, and all I saw was gravel and rolls of fence and razor sharp wire, So, anyways, after that, the last book he sent me when I was in solitary was, I told him after I finished and completed that course, I'm gonna call it a course, as I said, I want to do portraits, and the reason being is I'll be honest with you. Because a lot of the guys that had been to prison already, I wasn't yet in prison yet. I knew I was going to face prison time. They said, you got to have a hustle. You got to do something that nobody else can do, because that's how you'll be able to get money in order to get commissary. And even though my family took care of me, I didn't want to just rely on my family. In other words, in prison, everybody has a hustle. There's people that iron clothes for people that get constant visits, and they will iron your clothes to perfection. Other people shine boots. Other people do your laundry. There are chefs in there that literally will get the food that's sold in commissary and make an amazing meal out of it for people that don't want to eat in the chow hall. There's a lot of hustles. People that gamble. There's people that, so it's its own society. It's its own ecosystem in prison. And people had told me, listen, since you like drawing, you better learn how to draw people, because inmates ain't going to pay you to draw an animal or to draw a landscape. They're going to want something drawn of their wife, of their child, of their grandma, their grandpa, something like that, of their family, because that's where the money's at. That's where the hustle's at. So I asked my brother, can you send me, something drawing portraits? And he did. And the same approach. I mastered that book and learned how to draw according to the book. And maybe it's not the same thing that I would have learned, or some people learn it at art schools or art classes. And I don't know. This is all I had. This is all I had access to. And so I learned it. So now, after these 3 books, I had learned animals, landscapes, and portraits. And then the marshals came and picked me up, and before you knew it, after a year, this was back in 2006, I was taken to Conair, which is in Travis Air Force Base up here by Sacramento, between Sacramento and the Bay Area, and I was flown down to Victorville. From Victorville, they had lines of buses going to different destinations, and I was taken to San Bernardino County Jail for a few hours, and then from there, by the next morning, I was now in Terminal Island Federal Prison. And man, you know, as soon as I could, I went to there's a place within the prison where you can order things in catalog. And I ordered pencils, I ordered paper, I ordered real blenders. You know, they had real drawing pencils, not just number 2s. I mean, they had the soft pencils all the way to the hard pencils, so you can, you know, do fine lines, or really black, dark pencil. And that was amazing, you know. And so for the 2 years or so that I was there in Terminal Island, I even perfected my drawing even more. Here's the thing, is that I learned how to shade and draw with just one number 2 pencil with my own made up blenders. So by the time I got to Terminal Island, I was able to get the real drawing pencils, the whole set, and real blenders and real drawing paper. It just escalated my skill. Again, I didn't have any drawing classes. I didn't have anything. By this time, I was so busy in doing drawings, I no longer got any more books on drawing. I was just already on my own. I flew out of the nest, I guess, and doing the best of my ability, making portraits. And I made a lot of money, you know. I mean, well, in there, usually I would charge $40 a portrait in prison, which was it wasn't $40 cash. There's no cash in there. It could be $40 worth of stamps. It could be $40 worth of tunas, or top ramen, or Dorito bags, or coffee, whatever it was. Usually somebody asked me to do a portrait for them. I would say, well, bring me your commissary slip. And I would fill in $40 worth of things that I wanted. And I was able to do that. It wasn't until 2007 that I was sent closer to home. My last 2 years. By now I had 4 years under my belt. And I got points. My point is, there goes by a point system, whether you're going to go to Supermax or a high or medium or a low, which I was in a low. And I had enough points now to get to camp. I didn't so much care about being at a camp, but I did want to be closer to home. And there was a camp within an hour from home, so I could see my parents and my children. You know, so that's when I was sent to Atwater. And in Atwater, as soon as I got there, on the commissary list was brushes, paints, and canvases. This was a whole different thing for me, a whole different medium for me. And my brother says, what do you need? And I said, I need a book on how to paint. And the same cycle started over again. And so there I was, learning to paint in 2007. And I've been painting ever since. It's 2020 now, so it's been 13 years. And I started painting with acrylic. That's all they offered in prison. That's why I paint in acrylic to this day. You know, even if they would have offered oils, I wouldn't have bought it. There was no way I could have a canvas waiting to dry in prison. I needed something that would dry fast and dry quick, because I had to be able to put away my canvases right away. You know, and I feel no need to push into oil. Maybe I will later. I don't know. You know, but right now I learned with acrylic. I learned in my own way, and I don't even know if I even paint properly. And sometimes I wonder about that. Sometimes I don't care about that, honestly. Sometimes I think, well, this is the way I learned, and I can't change that. And it is what it is, you know. So, you know, I know I kind of sped through, and hopefully later I can elaborate more on the little pieces of this, but I just wanted this to be the introduction on how I learned to paint in prison and what I do now. So thank you so much, and hopefully you subscribe. Thank you. God bless.